The myth of kingship is a difficult thing to get right, and I worry a little bit at the moment that the present king is getting it really badly wrong and is being badly advised. One shouldn't consider the legality of monarchy, though of course the present the present government, the present royal family and their advisors are doing precisely that. Nor should we consider the cost of the crown, but the cost of its estrangement from the people. That is where we should be looking. For monarchy in its essence survives not by statute, but by grace. And grace is in short supply around King Charles. He comes across personally as extremely charming, but the stories that surround him are graceless. The British monarchy is a fiction, an elaborate, enchanting, and occasionally absurd fiction, but one that has endured. Why? Because it performs a mythic function. It roots the nation in ritual. It personifies the state in a single body. It gives the illusion of permanence in a world constantly remade. It is theatre, it is allegory, it works when the grace holds. And when that doesn't happen, when when the dignity is somehow lost, dignity, it can be staged, deference can be drilled, grace, that curious fashion of moral authority, human decency, and the capacity to charm even one's critics. Elizabeth II, the late Queen, had it in spades. Charles, perhaps less so. And the people who advise the king seem to have forgotten it completely. Nowhere is this crisis of grace more evident than in the king's own family. The monarchy stands or falls not on architecture or ancestry or fashion, but on relationships. And it's precisely here that Charles and his family falter. The rows with Meghan and Harry, the invisible presence of Prince Andrew, the silence around Queen Camilla's unpopularity. Grace demands reconciliation. Grace demands bridge building. Instead, we have gossip, speculation, and strategic briefings to family-friendly columnists. If Charles truly wishes to leave behind a monarchy more beloved than tolerated, more relevant than ceremonial, he must turn his attention not to Transylvania's rustic garden vegetable plots, but to Windsor's riven corridors. In short, he needs to heal the rifts, build the bridges. Viscary, Charles's Romanian retreat, is his Arcadia, a place of cobbled serenity and ancestral fantasy where Saxon peasants' past meets postmodern philanthropy, and it's not without beauty. Local children learn the virtues of organic gardening. Heritage tourism revives the rural economy. Charles has created a living pastoral dream, complete with compost rather than court drama. But the very fact that Viscary thrives reveals the problem. It's a fantasy at a safe remove. And therefore his patronage is welcomed, his interventions cheered. But in Britain, his once prescient instincts are now smothered in bureaucracy, PR advisors, and the delicate self-censorship that comes with kingship and a fractured family. He used to provoke, now he curates. And the way to change that is to build bridges around his own immediate family. And the monarchy that faces threats from both right and left is a monarchy that starts with a kernel of truth, something that he can rely on. The Republican left sees only empire, privilege, and irrelevance. The conservative right sees surrender to fashion, woke compromise, moral timidity. Both sense a hollowing, both whisper the king is not listening. The problem isn't legality, it's vitality. The monarchy's rituals still glitter, their meaning drains unless anchored in living myth. And that myth must be constantly renewed by acts of grace, reconciliation, service, humility, vision. And without those, we're left with spectacle alone, and spectacle fades. So will the monarchy die with Charles? Not necessarily, but the myth may. And it depends on whether Charles can do at home what he has done abroad, to restore, to reimagine, to care. And if he can infuse his kingship with the same attention he lavished on Romanian cattle sheds and church frescoes, if he can build bridges to his estranged sons, soften the cruelty of the court, and remind the nation that the crown stands for something more than privilege, then perhaps he will not be the last of this mythic monarchy, but the first of a new kind. But time is short, the crown weighs heavily, and grace, as ever, is a gift. It's not given. It's not natural. It was actually bestowed on the king during the coronation. He now needs to live that gift.